Welcome, everyone. My name is Becca Schwartz. I'm the Resettlement Director at Jewish Social Services in Madison. And I just wanted to make an announcement that JSS, we skipped World Refugee Day. We skipped publicly celebrating World Refugee Day last year. It felt really just too depressing to do everything virtually. And we're coming back this year. It is actually the 20th anniversary of the first celebration of World Refugee Day. It's on June 20th officially. On June 21st in the evening, we will be having a panel that is looking at the coming years of refugee resettlement in Dane County, Madison area. If you would like to get an invite, this will be virtual, unfortunately, but hoping to be in person sometime in the future. If you would like to be invited to that panel, please email me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat, so you can shoot me an email if you want to be put on that list. Thank you.
Thank you, Becca. That's really, I'm really looking forward to that. That sounds great. So before we get started, I wanted to just mention that this is the last of our series of webinars that have been going on this whole spring semester. Starting way back in January was our first one, and we've had one every month since. So this is the last one in the series. We've had scholars and practitioners engaged in refugee resettlement work and educators as well. So this has been sponsored by me. I'm from the Center for Research on College Workforce Transitions. We have colleagues from Madison College, colleagues from Jewish Social Services of Madison, as well as Center for African Studies program, and the Institute for Research on International Studies. So those are some units at UW-Madison that are involved. And so we've had a great semester and had a lot of great collaboration. And we don't have a plan yet for the future, but I suppose I just warn everyone, kind of look out for future events or just opportunities to engage and discuss on this topic of education and career success for refugees in our communities. Probably, this fall sometime, we'll be reaching back out. So just look out for that. Really happy today because, like I said, we've had scholars and educators and practitioners, people who support refugees, but we haven't, featured someone with a background, a displacement background of having been a refugee. So today we're really lucky to have Omar Mohamed. He works at Lutheran Social Services of Madison in the Refugee Resettlement Program there. Also, I'll just introduce Sarah Feinsilver. She's a colleague from Madison College, English as a second language educator. She and I will kind of moderate the discussion today. And Sarah's going to keep an eye on the chat and ask any questions. So please go ahead and put your questions in the chat for Omar. But generally, I think it's really appropriate to just have Omar spend as much time as he needs. Omar, please just introduce yourself and kind of tell us your story about coming to Wisconsin and your work to work towards college and career goals. And so we really just like to know your story a little bit and whatever you're comfortable telling us about.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you and all of you for giving me this opportunity. I hope anything that I said here for most of us, I know all of you guys are in the panels are already bought to the idea of welcoming refugees to the country. And I hope anybody else who watches can also join that boat as well. Like you said, I am a refugee. Former refugee. I'm a citizen. I can vote. Thanks, God. Yes, I was born in Somalia, but I was raised in refugee camp in Kenya, where a lot of Somalis, refugees still live there. Most of them are born right now and growing up there. Yes, I grew up there with my father and also my stepmom. My mom and I were split during the war. She ran her way, I ran my way. I ended up being with my father, that how. So that's the story of her. We came to Kenya. I stayed there, Kenya, for most of my time. And then, of course, luckily, we got the opportunity to get resettlement here in America. So if I can touch a little bit about that is, basically, we are like my type. I'm from Somali, but if you have all have seen Somali, you can see there's some distinct differences. So I am a Bantu. In other words, Somali Bantu we are known for. We are the minorities there in Somalia. Most of the time during this, the history of the country, none of our people never took any guns. They never been in any rebel. They never been in the military. So we were all we are known is for farming and things like that. So when the civil war broke, the major clans or tribes, they start fighting each other. Everybody saying, we're gonna lead, we're gonna lead. So we were like in the middle. Some, like one group will come, will kill some, rape some, beat us. When they are defeated, they run, the other one will join. We're like, oh, you are supporting those ones, and they do whatever they can do. So there was a point where people could not bear the situation. So they had to flee by literally on foot, not because you don't have anything else to go. So the story will be long if I go into, most of it I was young, but I was told most of it, as my father said, people were literally dying on the street as they trying to fled from, not from the killing, just hunger, famine, either wild beast, whatever they get eat. There was stories like people cannot barely walk, so they have to leave their loved ones looking at them on the sorry, we can't do anything. So you people die, barely bury them, you leave them on the street. So that's how most people reach to Kenya. Thanks God, when we reached Kenya, there was UNHCR. Thanks all they do in the world. They welcomed all the refugees at the time. And this is around 1990s and 1991, 1992. So, and then they welcomed in the refugee camp at Dadaab. So Dadaab has 3 camps, all 3 camps. So people, as they come, they send wherever there is a space to place. So we were placed in one of the Dadaab camps for most of the time. So when we were there, at least our leaders or our adults, our elders decided going back Somali will not be a good viable option. So we need other ways to go. So they started a petition to the UNHCR. Hey, we need to go a place like Zimbabwe. So we believe our history or our ancestral tribes in somewhat came from East Africa, like Zimbabwe, Kenya, Tanzania, where the Bantus live. So when they asked that to the UNHCR put the petition to those people. And then Zimbabwe, as you know, in Africa, they like, we love our brothers, but we don't have any resources to support. There's no way we can put them. So, and then that's when UNHCR put it to the resettlement agencies, like our countries who want to sponsor our group at the time. So one of the countries was obviously United States. At the time was Bill Clinton. And then he said, yeah, I can take it. So it was about only 10,000 people he agreed to go. So thanks God, all that list that was sent to Zimbabwe was sent directly to United States refugee program. Then they accepted, and then those 10 people are processed, and anything any kids that they had after that. So yes, it took a while. That was around 1995, 1994, 1996. So we did not leave. The first of us did not leave there from until, like you can say, 2001 to 2002. That's when we start repatriating. So it is a lot of processes. I'm just giving you the synopsis. It takes a lot of steps to get here. If people
Omar,
go ahead.
I was wondering then, it seems that, so you were in that Dadaab for maybe 6 or 7 years maybe, or somewhere around there. Could you I'm curious, could you talk about like did you study while you were there? Were there education opportunities for you?
So yeah, so though in the DAP there are some educational opportunities, but mostly and now we are understanding a lot, and a lot of people need to understand our parents did not have the educational background, at least the secular educational background. So most of them, they encourage us to go to madrasa, what's called like religious study. So we were encouraged to do mostly than that, than going to the secular. But there were classes. The secular classes that people were studying. Can somebody hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
So yes, we were focused and encouraged to learn. Yeah, we were focused and encouraged to learn our religious. So most kids were encouraged that. But then there was UN opened some schools. Yes, of course, it was basics, ABC, things like that. Yeah, people were learning, but it wasn't excited. People were not excited. At least the kids were not that excited at the time.
I see. So it seems like your education was disrupted for a period of time. And then once you got resettled, it started again. Like you said, it wasn't maybe the best educational setting. How old were you when you were then ready to or able to come to the United States?
So I was here in this process since I was, I don't know, I can remember. Literally, we were going to America. It took a lot of times. There was a lot of interview processes. We sat with the UN. We sat with the non-profit organization that creates our file for us. And then we sat with the immigration groups. So we had like 4 to 5 interviews to come to America. On top of that, plus the security clearance and all of that. So when I was landed to America, when I landed here in America, I was 17 years, according to the paperwork. Now, the reason that I say that, most of us, especially those who were born in Somalia, they don't have a birth certificate. They were not born, at least our tribe, in a hospital. So if you guys know, or you guys ever had in contact, most of our refugees all have January 1st, 19 something, January 1st, because they don't have any birth certificate to prove. Then the immigration just estimated whatever year they say we were born, okay, then you're born from January 1st. So according to the record, I was 17 years. Now I could have been younger or way older than that. So yeah, I came to America in 2004. It still seems yesterday, but I think it's almost 20 years or so. So 2004, on October, I came to America. I still remember the night, it's October 20 was. So yes, it wasn't easy to come into another country with a new culture, with a new language. I could barely understand English. Literally, I started with 9th grade because of my age. I couldn't go to middle school anywhere. And then I remember there, ESL classes, English as second language, our ESL teachers started with literally ABC, A, B, C, D, E, F. We started at that. I remember learning nursery rhymes there. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Literally, he writes, the teacher, we say after him. So yeah, I started as a 9th grade here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at Washington High School, if anybody know. We had classes after classes. Mostly in my 9th grade, I had all ESL classes, just gym. The rest is ESL classes. I go to ESL math, I go to ESL English, writing, reading, and all of that. But thanks God, when I came here, at the time at least, we had like some non-profit organization and churches who try to sponsor families, and they try to help. So a church sponsored I and my family. So they helped me, like coming, tutoring me after school. Saturday, they meet with me, do with math. And then also they encourage me to read and write. Of course, I didn't have a lot of books. I didn't have a lot of read. They give me a computer the first time I used the computer. And they bought for me this, there was no internet, but there was internet, but you had to have, it was a long story. But they give me these CDs that loaded with contents like math contents or history, anything else. So I put the computer and then I start reading that. That helped me a lot. And then in sophomore year, then I got my first real regular classes, which was English 10, as they call it. And yes, I worked hard. I worked literally hard. Because of the influence, because of the encouragement, because of the mentor they give me, I wasn't doing anything at a time. I would literally go in the morning to school, come at night, do my homework, sleep, and get up, do most of my assignments I worked on a Saturday. Because it's not easy when you don't speak the language. Where some other people taking like 30 minutes or so to complete assignment, at least for me, in that 30 minutes, it will take me an hour or so. Because I have to understand in my language and then to come up to answer in my language and then go from there to English. So it took a lot of time. But thanks God, I pushed myself hard. And then I graduated in 2008 on the top of the class. So I was the valedictorian of that year.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
So, but yeah, it took a lot. Yeah, it took a lot. If you have a question, so
everyone can please go ahead and put questions in the chat when you have them, and we'll break for that. Omar, one thing I was curious about is the way you described your school day. It's like kind of all business, all academics the whole time. I'm, one thing that like in American high schools that's pretty significant is extracurricular activities. Like these provide a lot of learning and a lot of social interaction and kind of engagement with peers and with the communities. Were you sort of unable to do any of that because of your sort of trying to succeed in your academics, or was there an opportunity for that for you at all?
Well, it's to be honest, it was a little hard to participate, especially at the schools I was going. Most of the schools, what they interested was basketball, and now the first time I saw basketball was when I came to America. All I knew was soccer. It wasn't that major interested at the school. So instead of doing that, I remember doing after school programs where I go to UW-Milwaukee. It was after school program for high schoolers. So it wasn't every weekday, but there's a couple days a week that I go there. So I go there mostly, again, do homework, or they will discuss with us about goals to go to college, or what we need to know, what we need to do. And they take us places to see schools, other things. So that kind of give me some social connection with other groups. But no, I was not involved. I did try to do sports outside school, a little bit in my community. It reached a point where I had to decide to stop because I didn't have the time to study and understand my contents and then go play sports. So it was a little hard.
Omar, we have a question in the chat from Lisa. Thinking back to before you were the valedictorian in those sophomore through senior years, were you hearing from guidance counselors or nonprofit agencies about colleges or college options and how to do that process?
I have a good story about the guidance counselors. I mean, and this is not good for MPS at all. So I was focused, and I really determined, because of the mentor that I had, they told me the best way is education. You got to go to college and all of that. And this is through the church. When I went to my guidance counselor and asked him, hey, I want to go to college, so what can you advise me? He looked at me and he was surprised. I don't know why. I shouldn't expect him to. He was surprised. And then he's the one, thanks to him, even though he's surprised because he didn't expect me to, he's the one who encouraged me to join those after school program through UWM. So when he introduced me to those and I applied and they accepted me, and then their goal was to make sure those clients to go to college. So when we go there, we always have college tours. We always have college educations, how to do the FAFSA, how to do the personal statements. And also at the school, because when he saw that I was serious, he also enrolled me in an ACT prep where we also go there and study about the ACT. Also that it's also called college summit class. That's what you used to call it. And then it was a nice teacher. She was an English teacher, so she helped us with the AST, and also she helped us with the ACT, also applying colleges, as well as applying other scholarship. So that class also helped me introduce me to see what it needs to do in order to get to college. Yeah.
Omar, I
And
have
as people
one follow-up question about that. The teacher who helped with the ACT and the SAT prep and this guidance counselor, what would you describe them as? Like what adjective? So that if you could have every teacher be like them or every teacher be as encouraging, like what did they do that you would think was most helpful?
Well, first of all, the ACT and SAT teacher or a college summit class teacher, she's very kind and caring. Everybody should be that. The guidance should be, but I think the culture there was, you have not seen students going above and beyond, especially refugee students who are not that like well-spoken, doesn't know the English, don't go out looking for, they were not going there, and I will see including it. And that I felt a little bit hard for him. But when he understood what my intention was, then he put me through the road. But I think the best way is if teachers out there, they need to go and visit those kind of classes with the ESL students and encourage them. When they saw that, then they start doing that. It changed him a little bit. But the teacher of the SAT or the college summit, she's there. I know what she's doing. So she was very humble. Nice to work with. So, and then I can continue. If people have questions, they can ask.
There was one other one, other question. Just it was just about if you had a, was UW or was the university, or not the university, was the United States? Sorry, was the United States your preferred place, or did you have choices, or was it basically like UNHCR decided where you would go and that was it?
So we didn't have a choice. That's true. We didn't have a choice. UNHCR did send those type of application to any country that resettles people, and then whichever country responds first, of course. And if you get a United States, of course, you're lucky. Nobody will say, no, I want to go other places versus United States. But we didn't have a choice. We were told you accepted your application with the United States, and then you wait the line, and then that's how it went through to get here.
Omar, did you have at this time in high school? Did you have career goals yet? I mean, you seem certain that you were going to college. Did you
No.
Think at all yet? No.
No, I did not have any clue. I knew I had to go to college because everybody says the ways to college.
Did we?
I think we lost Omar for a second. If anyone else has questions, feel free to put them in a chat. And then when Omar rejoins us, we can continue.
Mm-hmm. So I think when he comes, he'll come into the attendees, right? So keep an eye open. Oh, good. Can you hear us, Omar?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Good. I'm glad you're back. That didn't take too long.
A phone, that's
Yeah. Go ahead and maybe pick up about either about going to college or finding your goals in life for your careers. Either one.
Okay, so I'm just continue from going to college. Sorry, I couldn't turn the camera on for some reason. Somebody's trying to call. So I when the council and all realized that I want to go to college, and I start applying colleges, working on my college applications. One of the things was happening were my my church groups or the groups that were helping our family took me to Marquette one morning where they had a cultural breakfast. They tend to do that for people like all sort of background. They invite, they have cultural breakfast. So he called me. He's like, "Hey, this is going. Do you want to go?" I said, "Yes." It was a morning, Saturday morning. We went the cultural breakfast, and then they introduced. There was some speakers. They explained to us all the diversity that they have at Marquette and all of that, and then they give us a application and all of that, early start application and whatnot. So I collected all those brochures. I went back to school. My teacher, the college, someone helped me, and we applied. When we applied, I got an email saying that, okay, we put you in the waiting list. We'll see. We didn't start sending acceptance letters, blah, blah. So wait. And also applied UW-Milwaukee and UW-Madison. And then I got a call instead of getting a letter from the Marquette. And they say, "Hey, we are trying to give you an acceptance. So if you want to go ahead with us, you can join us." With a phone call, not a letter. I was like, okay, I'll do the. So that's how it's called. But then they encouraged me because I was the first to go to college in my family. Actually, in Milwaukee, I was the first to go in my community, but also in my family. So then they send it to me. They have a program at college. It's called a TRIO program where people who haven't gone to college, first time college students can join. They say, you can join us next semester, but with the condition that you're going to participate in that program. And then if you successfully complete it, and then you're welcome. That was the condition they gave. I'm like, all right, I'll show it to you. So I went in, and thanks that I went, because that was another program that helped me a lot, not only my college career, but also helping me financially, because I learned a little bit, but I didn't know a lot about FAFSA, when it's due and all of that. So that program helped me. I started in 2008, the summer. We had to take some real college classes. I took some history classes and Spanish and all of that. So yes, I passed all my classes with B and above. And then that's how I joined Marquette. And then from there on, like, it was the same thing. I did exactly what I did at high school, because now it's just more harder. Literally, it wasn't easy. And I met my goal to graduate from college. I was like, I need to finish for whatever reason I did. So yeah, I was at the library all weekend. Didn't go anywhere. I was at my dorms. I stayed at the dorm the first year to try to fill college dorms. If I knew now, I wasn't going to do it, but that's another story. But then the last 3 years, I stayed at home because I just lived by near. It wasn't that far. I could walk, I could take the bus. So that's how it goes. As a career-wise, like you asked me before, do you know what I wanted to major? I didn't even know what to major. So I started with a computer science. I took 1 year on a semester. And yes, I all passed my classes. It was all good. But because of my situation, like I say, I was the first one to go to college in my community. And the community was just fairly new. We just hear about 4 to 5 years in America now. A lot of people needing a lot of assistance, especially needing help interpretation at the hospitals, going to public assistances, helping kids at school, things like that. So there was a point where people called me back and forth, assuming that I'm going to college now, I know everything. I was like, I don't know, I'm just not, come help me with this. Go with me to the doctor. Go this, like, help me apply with the food share. Help me apply W-2, things like that. So I was just called back and forth. And I was like, if I become a computer scientist, I can't do this because I got to be at the back, in a cubicle doing coding and trial, whatever. So I can't do this. What can I do? So I went back to my counselor. I say, is there any things that I can measure at the same time helping my community that get my, he's like, yeah. We just have a new program launched at Marquette. It was called SOJ, Social Justice and Welfare. He said, you can join that class. You can use that program. So that program I joined. So I stopped computer science. Now I'm saying why I shouldn't do it, because there's a lot of money in there. But I stopped computer science. That's why I joined to the social work or social service process. So I enjoyed it. It was a good eye-opening. Yes, when I was in the computer science program, all I was doing was in the library, coding and decoding, making sure the program runs and whatnot. But when I went there, now we start talking about public policy. We start talking about international policy, why people are poor, why people are rich, and all of that things. So it was fun. It was exciting. It was invigorating. So I joined it, and I graduated with an honor after 4 years and a half. I got an extra semester because I was held because of my classes that I took the computer science program. So yeah, I graduated with SOJ in 2012. And then part of the SOJ, what they do is they call it community service learning. Pretty sure you guys are familiar. One of my teacher says, "Oh yeah, I have a perfect places for you to do your service learning." It's the way it is. And she took me a place called Our Next Generation. It's in the inner city of Milwaukee, where a lot of Somali Bantu go with kids there. And they needed somebody who speaks the language, who understands the system of the education and all of that. So I started doing intern there. So I was doing their internship. So, and then when they saw me, oh yeah, thank you. You can help us become our gap. So our parents of the kids don't understand us well. And we want to know somebody who can like bridge the gap. So that's what I become. I will become as a counselor to them, with them, interpreter. I was all of the above. And then they also assign me, what I do is I take the kids to other programs, like they had programs connection to the like local businesses like freighter, manpower. So I'll take the kids there in the afternoon where some business people like manpower or doctors or nurses, when they have their break time, during their lunch time, they will spend 1 hour with the kids doing their homework, or if they just want to talk about or what they want to be. I used to do that twice a week. One day manpower, one day freighter hospital. So that's what I used to do. And then he also told me, also I need to understand, like the director said, he want to know or meet the people who are bringing these kids, like this group, like who are the resettlement agencies. And that's how I connected to resettlement groups. So he said, I need you to do that. So then I started doing research. I called LSS. I called IIW here in Milwaukee. They also welcome. I called Catholic Charities to make meetings to meet with them to the directly. So the IIW, I did not get any response, but Catholic Charity, they sent a case manager, and LSS, Mary showed up. Mm-hmm. So I introduced to each other, this is it. Then they discussed and they talked, and that's where Mary saw me. Now, this is after I graduated already. When I graduated, the center says, we are nonprofit, we don't have a lot. We will hire you as a part-time. We need you, but we can't afford you full-time, so would you be staying? And I didn't have anything at the time. I was like, okay, why not? I'll stay. While I was also applying to go to a master's degree. So then when Mary saw me, she was like, I am looking for a case manager or a case aide. That's how they sectioned before. Case aide just what means is the person who goes into the community, making sure clients get their appointment done, take them to the doctor, take them to the food chair, things like that. What basically I was doing. She was like, apply for a case aide. So I applied the case aide. When I went to the interview, first of all, it was a day I showed up, and she's telling me this way after now. It was a freezing point, like a 10 below or something day. She gave them off to all the people, but she knew she had it on schedule with me, so she had to wait. She waited for me, so I showed up. She was like, that was a sign. And her manager interviewed me. After the end of interview, she said, I want you to go back to the website and apply this time as a case manager, not a case aide. So then a case manager, what basically they do is they coordinate all those appointments. Like they pick the client from the airport, they handle the client's finance. Every question that the case has, it comes to the case manager. I want you to go and apply that. So I applied and I did a second interview and they took me as a case manager. So, and that's when I joined in LSS. That was in 2014 of February.
Wow.
The lucky thing was I had experience already. My brother was also working in Catholic church. I used to help him. Of course, in the community, I was helping my people every day. The first day, my first day that's the first day I went to the airport. So I and Mary started and picking up at the airport the first day. So I wasn't, beside the technical, I didn't need any training. So I knew what was going on. All the other stuff, technical, I just did it. I learned it as I go into the work. And that's how I joined LSS since 2014 up to now. Just recently in 2020 of December, I took a supervisory position right now at LSS. So right now I am one of the supervisors to the program of the resettlement agency.
Wow, you've really given us an inspiring story. You know, your life experience. I loved how you explained, you know, the sort of the role you had in the community, in your community, sort of mediating between helping people with their appointments and kind of mediating between the dominant institutions in our society, and that kind of brought you into this new profession. I guess one question and everyone can go ahead and put comments and questions in the chat. One thought I had is, what was your experience of the culture of Marquette University? And some people with refugee background have kind of explained to me, not about Marquette, but about other places, how the culture of campus can feel alienating. And of course, you would have been the only person from your community. So you said you were the only person from your community on campus. So I'm curious how the culture was for you.
It was tough at both sides. You know, when like I said, I was the first one in my community. When they see me, they think, oh, the college graduate. They put me in a pedestal. Like I'm not. I'm just learning. I don't know everything in America. Nobody can say they know everything. You only know you're specialized. So I have to know everything that the community needs. I'm the guy who planned school with the white people. You know, if I speak, why are you speaking like white person? I'm like, I got an accent. It's a teasing, but also trying to. I felt as like I was kind of isolated. So when I go to the market or wherever, now I'm the African guy, Somali, so I'm not fit in there, and I don't fit in the community. So I'm left in this place. So I have to find my ways to find like start playing double role. You know, when I'm at the community, so I have to assimilate like they are, and then when I go to the school, then I have to assimilate like they are, because otherwise I become this guy in the middle. Everybody pushes me one end. None of the sides accepting me. That's how I felt. But again, I did not dwell onto that. I knew there was I had a goal. I was like, this is why I'm here. I didn't have time. I have classmates, and what helped me was also they had called a community floor, especially at my freshman year. So community floor is basically in a floor in a freshman year where a lot of people, diverse people came, or people who are mainstream and want to know a lot of other culture. They all put together in one floor to learn each other. So that gives me a lot of friends. My first roommate was from China. You know, my other classmates was from Illinois, but he has a Mexican background. So I seen it all, like as if I didn't have any already, but I have seen it a lot. Not only just like the white people or the black people, but I saw it all of them at that community, the floor. That helped me as well too.
Oh. Becca, did you have a question?
Yes. Thank you, Omar, for sharing your story. As you probably know, resettlement agencies are looking at a period of growth. JSS is the newest agency in Wisconsin so far. And we, as of yet, have not hired people who were resettled as refugees, but we're looking to do that as we grow imminently. And I wanted to ask you, you know, as a new agency, what should we as JSS be on the lookout for as we are looking to hire people with refugee backgrounds? What kind of support can we provide?
That's a good question. Well, first of all, if you hire somebody with a refugee background with the same language, it will be helpful to you guys. It will definitely helpful for the language wise. He will bring or she will bring a cultural like perspective. But one thing that you guys need to be caveat is just that the mixing role, because when you hire somebody from the community, most of the time, especially if those people went to college or something, they tend to be a leader in the community too. So they have a leadership role. So you probably, when you hire somebody, tell them, when you are JSS, you're JSS, period. Even after the JSS time, because otherwise, anytime they will see him as a JSS, but he also have another role. So that's gonna create a lot of potential conflict of interest. For example, if you hire a case manager who is also a community leader, so tomorrow you work in the same community, a case comes up to him in the prospect of the community, and then he rules whatever the case is, maybe a domestic violence or some context comes up. So he rules towards for the husband, you like the wife, you're wrong, you don't do this. So tomorrow when he comes to work, how is that wife gonna view him? So those kind of challenges happens all the time. For me, I've been here for almost 7 years. I am a leader, but when I am leading, I don't lead up front in the community. They don't know what I am. I'm always in the background. I just give them the research, all the ideas I have. When it comes like handling or consoling or counseling people, I leave to the other ones. So I'm just another part of it. Because if you start playing double, there's gonna be a clash sometimes. Hey, yesterday you told me I was wrong. When you're as a JSS, then that person may not be respected. She's gonna look as an enemy, or he's gonna look him as an enemy. That's one thing I'm gonna advise you guys. Also, always, and it is tough, the conflict of interest too. Most of the community leaders, sometimes they may have a business in the community, or they may have somebody who they know have a business. So they can start referring the client to those businesses. And just something to look it out when you attempt to hire or when you hire, to give them those kind of caveat that they need to be only have one role only in the community. That's my.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's really valuable advice, Omar. Yeah, I guess I was wondering, Omar, if you could share. You mentioned how you obtained U.S. citizenship. I wonder about that process for you, and I'm also wondering about sort of any future plans. I know you just got promoted and you're now in a supervisory role, but any your thoughts about the future as well?
So yeah, I became a citizen way back in 2012. So to give you a little backstory, for us again, we are from Somali Bantu. The way we came to America was by luck. It wasn't that big to us. Other groups knew America well, like Somalis and all of them. They are very, very wanted America. But we asked, like, that was not our initial request. We were lucky to come. So it wasn't that valuable or that interesting. Yes, thank you. We are here. We are safe. But we just acted on that. So a lot of us don't rush into becoming a citizen right away. Not because they don't want it. It's just the value is not there. They don't think of that much. But the people who actually know the value of having American citizenship or passport, you will see in a blink of eye, they will do it. So I was in that category. So I was like, let me just get my education. It's fine. I'll become one day a citizen. So to the point where as a college student, I was trying to apply a scholarship. And one of the category was you have to be a citizenship. I was like, oops. So that's what triggered me to start studying. So I became a citizen when I was senior in college. I could become anytime, even in high school, but I just didn't have the value. So yes, if you go to school, it shouldn't be hard, but for most people, it is not easy to become citizenship. It's very tough for them. As of a career, like I say, this position I am in, I came here by default. It's not my choice because all the demand there was in the community, so I came. I did apply master's degree. I just wanted to get a master's degree, even in social work, whatever it is. So I took for 1 semester at UW-M. Then I paused because I'm married, so I have 2 kids. And my wife is also trying to get her degree. She's now, she's going to be a senior, or she's going to be finishing next year at Alvarno here for her nursing bachelor's. So, because you all went to school, you know how hard it is, especially if you are bilingual, if the English not your mother tongue. So it's hard for her too. And I say, got kids, I will work, you just focus to school. So hopefully when she finish, then I can try to maybe take a part-time job or something like that to go back to finish my master's. But for now, that's on hold.
I guess I wanted to ask, I think there's a lot of interest to know if you could say anything else about struggles or barriers to your success that you've dealt with along the way, and you know, what strategies or supports were helpful. You have talked a lot actually about the different programs and individuals who support you along the way, so that's really been helpful. But is there anything else about that that you can share?
There has been a lot of struggle, and yes, I'll share. I'll put myself out there. You guys can know. So, like I say, I was coming here with my father, but unfortunately, he didn't make it through the process. He passed while we were in the process of getting here, in the camps actually. So I came with my mother's step, so stepmom here with her kids. So when I came here, of course, I started with high school, and the rest of her kids were younger than me. I was older. Of course, I was 17, and then automatically I reached 18. I'm growing up. In America, when you grow up, you got to bring some value into the house. So she was the only working. And then she had to marry because she was fine, but she couldn't do it all by herself. So she remarried. So when she remarried, the stepdad started making noises, you know, why am I raising this kid if he's not bringing some issue? So the tension happened. So there was a point in my high school time where I had to decide whether I should go to school or quit and get a job. So thanks God, as a Somali Bantu, we always are groups, you know, we are like a family, big family. And thanks to the process in America, when we were coming, they knew how big America was. What they did was they connected the relatives. So we were chained, we come as a chain, like everybody. Basically, I know 80% of people in Milwaukee. Somehow they are connected either by murder or by relative. So one of my brothers was also here. When I bring the situation to him, and he said, don't worry about it. And he went to school and he knew some educational value. He said, you're almost there. Don't quit now. You come stay with me. Leave them alone. You don't have to pay anything. Here's your room. You eat, sleep, go to study. So thanks to him, beside all the help I got the outside, if I couldn't have a shelter over my head, I wouldn't have gone where I am right now. So thanks to him, he helped me. He didn't ask me any penny until I graduated from college. Even after college, he said, you can stay as long as here, because we have a culture that you don't leave your family until you grow up, until you marry. So, you know, when they raise you, now you a college graduate, now you need to work and chip in. You know, so I started chipping in with him. And then when time for me to move on, so I married, so I moved with my family. So yeah, the challenge was, it's not easy to be successful when you're poor. And that's real. That's real. Yeah.
Sarah, are there any other comments or questions to address?
I think Becca had a question for Omar.
Okay.
So No, I asked it.
Oh, you
Yeah.
did? Okay. Anymore. Okay. I think, let's see.
I did want to make sure that Bintu saw that I responded to the volunteer question in the chat.
No, I think my last question, Omar, would be what words of advice would you have for a teacher or even a supervisor working with linguistically diverse colleagues or students?
So what I will say is it's not going to be easy to work with somebody who doesn't speak your language, but still what teachers need to do is give the respect of the kids. Like, yes, help them, but also try to challenge them and push them. It is not easy to learn another language, but it also helps when you're learning from somebody who doesn't speak your language, because you will stop the dependency of the translation. So the way I learned, because most of the time when I was going to college or high school mostly, I had like a small note and packet note that when a teacher says a phrase or some sort of a word I didn't know, I just write it how it sounded. And then I go home and I look it up. If I don't know, I'll ask some of the mentor what it means. So that's how I increase my vocabulary. So it's not necessary for you to learn through somebody who knows your language, but it's okay when you're teaching, if you can speak slowly and clearly to them. Not saying that they don't know, but it's just that's for them, helpful for them to remember those words tomorrow. But if you just speak too quickly, that's not going to be also good for them. But again, it's good to challenge them, because if you don't challenge, they're not going to learn. If you make everything very, very simple for them, they'll still be in level 1. So that's all.
Well, I guess on behalf of all of us here, Omar, I just wanted to thank you for being so open, for being willing to share your story, which is has been very informative and also very inspiring. It's quite amazing, and we're lucky to have the opportunity to learn from you. With that said, thanks everyone for your time today, and for your participation today, and for your participation along this series, which has been a great opportunity, I feel, for all of us to engage. So thanks everyone. I'm gonna off the recorder now. If I can. I don't know if I'm able to. Well,
I think Amy might have to.
Amy might have to. Okay. Well, Omar, I have an email that I'll send you to follow up quick. But thanks very much for being with us today.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
It was great. It was great to meet you and to learn
fun
about
if
you.
you had the rest of the panels. It will be fun. But
I know.
Looking forward to.
I know. Well, it turned out just learning from you took us a whole hour. So it's such a rich story, your experiences. But yeah, I mean, maybe in the future we can have more engagement with other people as well.
Yeah, sure. You guys have my information.
Yes, we do. I'll reach out shortly. So I'm going to off this so that our recorder stops. So goodbye, everyone. Have a good afternoon and evening. Take care.